Most dog owners believe they would immediately notice if their dog was anxious. After all, anxiety should be obvious, right? A nervous dog should look scared. A stressed dog should act upset. But what if that's not true? What if some of the most common signs of anxiety are so subtle that millions of dog owners overlook them every single day? What if behaviors you've always considered normal are actually your dog's way of saying, I'm uncomfortable, I'm overwhelmed, or even, I need help? The truth is that dogs rarely communicate stress the way humans do. They can't tell us when something is wrong. Instead, they speak through behavior. And sometimes those signals are so small that they're easy to miss. Today, we're going to explore 7 surprising signs that your dog may be feeling anxious without you realizing it. Some of these signs are often mistaken for harmless habits. Others are even confused with happiness or affection. Before we begin, comment 1 if you've ever wondered whether your dog is truly happy, and make sure you stay until the end because the final sign on this list is one that many loving dog owners completely misunderstand. If you enjoy learning how dogs think, feel, and communicate, don't forget to subscribe and join our community. The first sign is something many dog owners see every day and rarely think twice about: licking. Maybe your dog constantly licks their paws. Maybe they lick their lips when there's no food around. Or perhaps they repeatedly lick blankets, furniture, or even the air. At first, these behaviors may seem harmless. In some cases, they are. But when licking becomes frequent or repetitive, it can sometimes be a sign that your dog is trying to cope with stress. Humans often have similar habits. Some people bite their nails. Others tap their feet, twist their hair, or fidget when they're nervous. Dogs can't do those things. Instead, many turn to repetitive behaviors that help them calm themselves down. That's why excessive licking is sometimes described as a self-soothing behavior. The important thing to remember is that anxiety doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks quiet. Sometimes it looks ordinary. And that's exactly why it's so easy to miss. A dog can appear completely calm on the outside while still feeling overwhelmed on the inside. And as surprising as that may be, the next sign is even easier to overlook because most people assume it means their dog is simply tired. The second sign may seem surprising because it's something every dog does: yawning. Most people see a dog yawn and immediately assume one thing: they're tired, and sometimes that's true, but dogs also yawn for another reason that has nothing to do with sleep: stress. Animal behavior experts often refer to yawning as a calming signal, a behavior dogs use to help regulate their emotions when they feel uncomfortable, uncertain, or overwhelmed. Think about situations where your dog suddenly starts yawning: at the veterinarian's office, during a training session, around unfamiliar people, or when there's a loud noise nearby. In these moments, the yawn may be your dog's way of releasing tension and coping with a stressful situation. Have you ever noticed your dog yawning when they clearly weren't sleepy? Let us know in the comments. What's fascinating is that many anxious dogs don't display just one signal. They often combine several subtle behaviors at the same time. And that's why stress can be so difficult to recognize, because the signs are often quiet, polite, and easy to overlook. In fact, the next signal is so subtle that many owners mistake it for stubbornness when it's actually something completely different. The third sign doesn't involve barking, shaking, or obvious fear. In fact, it often looks like your dog is simply being uninterested. Imagine you're petting your dog. Everything seems fine. Then suddenly they stand up and walk away. Or perhaps you're introducing them to a new person, and instead of engaging, they quietly leave the situation. Many owners interpret this as stubbornness. Some assume their dog is being rude. But in many cases, something else is happening. Dogs are masters of conflict avoidance. Unlike humans, they rarely seek confrontation when they feel uncomfortable. Instead, they often choose distance. Walking away can be a polite way of saying, "I'm not comfortable right now." It's one of the gentlest forms of communication a dog has. The problem is that it's so subtle that many people miss the message entirely. Rather than expressing anxiety through dramatic behavior, some dogs simply remove themselves from the situation, causing stress. And when that signal goes unnoticed, the discomfort may continue building beneath the surface. What's fascinating is that some anxious dogs don't move away at all. Instead, their bodies reveal the stress for them. And the next sign often appears even when a dog looks perfectly calm from the outside. The fourth sign is excessive panting when there's no obvious reason for it. Most dog owners associate panting with heat. And that's usually correct. Dogs pant to cool themselves down after exercise or on a warm day, but panting can also be triggered by something you can't see: stress. Anxiety activates the body's stress response system, much like it does in humans. The heart rate increases. Breathing becomes faster. The body prepares itself to react to a situation it perceives as challenging or uncertain. As a result, some dogs begin panting even when they're resting comfortably indoors. No exercise, no hot weather, no physical exertion, just stress. This is especially common during thunderstorms, fireworks, car rides, veterinary visits, or unfamiliar situations. What's tricky is that a dog can appear perfectly normal at first glance. They may not bark, they may not tremble, they may not try to hide. Yet their body is quietly revealing what they're feeling inside. That's why understanding canine anxiety often requires paying attention to the small details, not just the obvious ones. And the next sign may be the most misunderstood of all, because many owners see it as proof of love, when in some cases it may actually be a sign of anxiety. The fifth sign is one that surprises many dog owners: following you everywhere. At first, it sounds like a good thing. Your dog follows you into the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, sometimes even to the bathroom. Most people see this and think, my dog just loves being around me. And often that's true. Many dogs naturally enjoy being close to the people they trust. But in some cases, constant shadowing can be a sign of anxiety rather than affection. Dogs experiencing separation-related stress may become overly dependent on their owner's presence. They feel comfortable when you're nearby, but uneasy when you're out of sight. As a result, they begin monitoring your movements throughout the day. Not because they're curious, but because they don't want to lose track of you. If your dog follows you from room to room every day, comment 5 below. The key difference is balance. A confident dog can relax when you're nearby and when you're not. An anxious dog may struggle to settle unless they know exactly where you are. And while this sign is often misunderstood, the next one is even harder to spot because it can quietly affect something every dog needs to do every single day: eat. The sixth sign is a change in appetite, and because eating habits can vary from day to day, many owners don't immediately connect it to anxiety. But stress can have a powerful effect on a dog's relationship with food. Just like humans, dogs often respond to anxiety in different ways. Some lose interest in eating altogether. A normally enthusiastic eater may suddenly leave food in the bowl or take much longer to finish a meal. Others react in the opposite direction. They may eat unusually fast, rush through meals, or appear obsessed with food during stressful periods. What's happening behind the scenes is a response from the body's stress system. When anxiety levels rise, normal routines, including digestion and appetite, can be affected. That's why changes in eating behavior sometimes appear alongside other signs of emotional stress. The challenge is that appetite changes are easy to dismiss. Maybe your dog is just being picky, maybe they're having an off day. And sometimes that's exactly the case. But when changes in appetite appear together with several other signs on this list, it may be worth paying closer attention, because the final sign is perhaps the most misunderstood of all. It's something almost every dog owner has seen, and most people assume it always means one thing: happiness. The seventh and final sign may be the most surprising of all: a wagging tail. Most of us learn from childhood that a wagging tail means a happy dog. But canine body language is far more complicated than that. A wagging tail simply means your dog is emotionally aroused. In other words, they're feeling something. The question is, what? Excitement can cause a wagging tail. Happiness can cause a wagging tail. But so can uncertainty, nervousness, and even anxiety. That's why experienced dog behaviorists never look at the tail alone. They look at the entire dog. Are the ears relaxed or pinned back? Is the body loose or stiff? Are the movements calm or tense? A dog may be wagging its tail while feeling conflicted about a situation, curious but uncertain, interested but uncomfortable. And that's what makes this sign so easy to misread. Because sometimes the behaviors we assume mean, "I'm happy," are actually a dog's way of saying, "I'm not sure how I feel." And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. Dogs are communicating with us every day. The challenge isn't whether they're sending signals, it's whether we're noticing them. The good news is that anxiety doesn't mean you're a bad dog owner. In fact, every dog experiences stress from time to time, just like people do. The difference is that dogs can't tell us how they're feeling with words. Instead, they communicate through small changes in behavior, body language, and daily habits. And now you know some of the signs to look for. Maybe you'll notice that extra licking, a yawn that appears at an unexpected moment, or a wagging tail that tells a more complicated story than you once believed. The goal isn't to become worried about every behavior your dog displays. The goal is simply to become more aware. Because the better we understand our dogs, the better we can support them when they need us most. And sometimes, the smallest signs can make the biggest difference. Before we finish, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 signs surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you think this video could help another dog owner better understand their furry friend, consider sharing it with them. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the fascinating emotional and psychological world of dogs. Because every behavior tells a story, and every dog deserves to be understood.